The 2022 virtual Trierer Bergrennen HillClimb is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, A-Stick Sim Sport, ESTV, and Motorvision.tv.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for new forest. Racing for Green.
Einen wunderschönen guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. A very good evening and welcome to GTR 24H. It's the penultimate round of the virtual HillClimb Championship. It's Alex Goldschmidt, joined by the one, the only, the legend that is Mr. King Kodiak, Chris Buxton. Good evening, buddy. How are you?
You are far too kind, good sir. I am very much looking forward to this. I had a lot of fun when I stood in for your good self a few weeks ago. But these cars that we're seeing, that we've been watching off air on the practice session, are just magnificent. Some of them have, as I pointed out last time, questionable liveries, but a vast majority of them are just they just look, sound, everything. They're just super gorgeous machines.
Indeed, we're in the Trierer Bergrennen hill climb, which was actually used as part of the European Hill Climb Championship between 1991 and 2011, and at one point it was part of the ADAC Rally Deutschland, for the World Rally Championship. But it is very tight. We have seen Pedro Alvarez doing some hang time in his Escort RS2000 WRC. I thank you. But coming into this round, it's the penultimate round of the season. Teams championships are looking pretty feisty. Drivers championships on all the respective classes, E2 3000, E1 plus 2000, ES SH 3000s. You've also got the Group H specials, which seem to be a bit of a favourite of ours, you and me, Chris. And we've got one more round to go in a couple of weeks' time, and here in Germany, it's going to be a tall order, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that these hill climb events, much like rallying, you've got to be a very special type of lunatic to do these properly. Now, of course, in sim racing, you don't have the kind of fear of mortal death, but even still, the difference between getting it right and getting your car destroyed, we're talking pixels of difference between the two, between getting that line just sweet and getting it through an impossibly tight section and embedding yourself in someone's front room, or finding a cuckoo's nest up a tree with your own bonnet. That's the kind of fine margins we're dealing with here in HillClimb. And one of my all-time favorite rally cars we can actually see roughly in the middle of the shot. We did until it moved, until the shot changed.
Yes. And a very good evening to the YouTube chat as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Mark Best and Distilled U Gamecaster with us this evening. Mark is one of the regular competitors. But this particular layout, the Trierer Hill Climb was held from 1971 to 2011. So it was running for 40 years before, unfortunately, being thrown unceremoniously under the carpet and kicked with a big heavy broom. But the route itself was just over 3.3 kilometers. Then it was extended in 1987 to 3.39 kilometers. And then 1992 onwards, it went to just over 3.7 kilometers, but also from 2002 to 2015, this route was also, as I said, used as part of the WRC for Rally Germany, but instead of the standard traditional of going up a hill, you were going down it. And also a very good point made by Mark Best in the YouTube chat. Yes, you did get my name right. Thank you very much indeed. The first hairpin on this run is super, super tight. Now, you said about things being pixels. The good thing is, at least with Virtual Hill Climb Championship, they don't have to worry about an IOU for an invoice post any session, because they're going to be out for three heats. We're going to look through the championship standings very, very shortly, but it is a nip and tuck. We've already seen that, how close the fencing is, the type of machinery that we've got. We've got the Lancer Evo 9s, the Ford WRCs, the Lancia Delta Evo 2s, the old the HF Integrales back from the 90s, the good old Opel Manta with more than just slicks and wings, and it's going to be an interesting one tonight. And the good thing is, you and I are going to be waxing lyrical about classic cars and probably having a few random moments going off-piste, unlike our drivers.
Would it be a broadcast with you and I if we didn't go off piece somewhere in the broadcast somewhere? But yeah, we go. That's the Teams Championship as it currently sits, with AMP at the top of the tree, Andreas Polabauer and Oliver Toth at the top of the tree, with quite some distance, but a lot of fighting right behind them.
Yeah, Javier Rodriguez and Jerry Hernandez from JY Canary Island round out the top two, but they're tied on points with Mark Best and Pedro Barbosa from E Alliance, both on 118 apiece. And it's a further 10 back to the 4th and 5th placed teams, GSR with Antonis Parinopoulos and Valadis Karales on 108 points, and then Achin Vargas, who's been pretty quick this season. Let's not beat about the bush with that one. With Royman Vieira, they're also on 108 points. A further 10 back, Saris Racing with Eftastitu and Rossival. Then you've got Haben Gabner in the JRT, the junior racing team. They're a further point adrift. Then it's Tobias Berghoff and Gerd Alsen in the Alsen Bergstoff Motorsport crew. They're on 93 points. Equipe Regal, I think it is, because we've got Sebastian Horner and Eric Tetol on 90 points. And then a bit of a distance back to Racing Team Blasel with Marcus Blasel and Jürgen Strasegger. They round out the top 10 on 55 points. But if we look through the classes themselves, it's Sebastian Horner who leads the way in the Acela FA30 in the SCSS 3000s. Mark Best, the Canadian driver, in one of 4 Norma M20 FC Zytex, actually piloted by one Charlie Martin when she was hill climbing a few years ago before she turned to circuit racing. Charlie also ran in hill climbing, and she actually started off in Formula Renault 2.0s. She even did hill climbing. Get this, Chris, in a Peugeot 206. The 205.
Oh, that goes back a few years.
It does. But it's looking pretty close. I think Francois Garatti from Switzerland hasn't taken part in any of the rounds. Leo Huart from France, not present in Austria last time out a couple of weeks ago. Before we had our first round of the Endurance E-Racing World Championship. The E2 2000s, Andras Rossival from Hungary and the Tatus Master leads the way on 93 points. Then we've got Agios Andre from Switzerland. Consistent point scorings, 3 seconds, but picked up a victory last time out in Austria. 79 points for the Swiss driver. And then Pedro Barbosa, also in a Dallara F312. A no score in Italy on the second round of the championship, but 3 third-place finishes puts the Portuguese driver in the 81 Dallara in third place. Chris Bennett only took part of the run at Italy today, yesterday. A third-place finish there for the Brit, but down at the bottom of the order. But it's Javier Rodriguez from Spain. Perfect score across the board. 4 victories, and I think effectively if Rodriguez in the BMW E30 Turbo gets another victory, that will pretty much sew up the championship with 1 round remaining. And then it's 3 Greek drivers. We've got Valadis Karales, John Spider in the Mercedes 190 E-Judd, which has an absolutely glorious engine note to it, I might add. With Nikos Saknias in the Ford Escort MK Mark II. You don't see many of those about. Hasn't had a good run in the latter part of the last couple of rounds. Philotheus Arjurio from Germany is the last of the point scorers in there. Then we go to the E1 2000s. That's for engines with a displacement of a 2-litre turbocharged displacement. And it's the Lancer Evo X, Evo 9 of Tobias Bergstoff from Germany in the 153. It's 93 points. He's 20 ahead of Pedro Alvarez. And then Antonis Parinopoulos rounds out the top 3. Bit of a distance, so the title, Chris, looks to be between Bergstoff and Alvarez for the title hunt. And it depends on who wins this event, because that person will have a lot of motivation going to the final round in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, the momentum is definitely with Bergstoff on that one. Now, I know full well I cannot pronounce that name correctly. You're the only man in the crew that can.
Considering we're on his home turf as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So very much advantage Germany on that one. But that Lancer is such a monster. It's so difficult to overcome. Just the raw acceleration that thing has. All 4 wheels, all screaming away to scrabble away from the one spot. But mentioning earlier, one of my favourite rally car is, it's the Audi Quattro. That's where, and it's in its traditional colours as well. I will scream about it and wax lyrical when we see it. But heading further down, Andreas Pollabauer in the Opel Kadett. That's predating even me, that one. And
I think probably both of us.
Indeed. So 4 of them leading the way in the Group 8 special category. Then it is Mitko Hrostov, possibly about 16 points behind the toss-up, but taking the victory last time out in class. So Philip Raab in the third of the cadets, and then Julian Galport. I knew I'd trip over this one. And Galpasoro from Spain, taking second in the run last time. So didn't have quite such a good run in round 3, but picked up second place in class. Then it's the Fiat X19s of Louis Lacroix and Bruno Guides from France and Portugal, respectively. Another Opel from Kostadinov. Late joiner to the series, but not doing too badly. Fourth last time out. And then the rest of the crew, the rest of the group, as you can see. But then you've got the slightly more modern category now coming up in the E1 2-litre class, being led by the Honda Civic Type R of Akin Vargas from Spain. Then a VW Corrado for Oliver Toth, and Jürgen Strasseger in the next Civic with a Renault Clio. Of course, Michael Poansel representing his home country with the Renault, and it's amazing seeing so many cars that hark back to the cars I used to watch way back in the day. Admittedly, I haven't followed modern rallying or hill climbing to a huge degree, but I can still admire these gorgeous vehicles when they pop up.
Indeed. So we are about to get the action underway for the penultimate round here at the Trierer Bergrennen. It's basically in, for those wondering about the locality, it's in the district of Trierer-Saarburg. And we are now seeing our first driver go to the line. It's going to be the Acela FA30, the number 21 of Herbert Pregartner. And the Acela 1, beautiful prototype, very low slung, but with the, we see that Pedro Barbosa's just jumped to the YouTube chat. Good evening, Pedro. Glad you could join us. And good to see that the German national flag is ready to wave Pregartner off. And we're going to get a real understanding of how quick these cars are going to be, because we know, Chris, that hill climbs, it is about precision. It is about cojones, as the Spanish would probably much understand me at the moment. But you've got to have intestinal fortitude. You've got to be fully committed. These drivers have been practicing up to this point. It is all about pinpoint precision. And with some of the technical parts on this hill climb here at the Trierer, as Pregartner lights up with 11s, and straight away the accelerators hit quite hard. So the first part of the circuit, you're now going to see going through the twisty stuff. It kind of reminds me of Pikes Peak, and it's that right-hander. The car is absolutely planted. So Pregartner is the first one out there, even getting a bit tail-happy going through one of the left-hand corners. You can see it's now another.
Oh, no!
And he's clattered into the barriers already. So the first one for Herbert Pregartner, but he's still going to carry on. We're now going to see a little bit of a replay, just fully committed. Back end starting to step out. It's getting a bit tail happy here, Chris. Into the braking zone for the next part of the circuit. Back end steps out to the right-hand side. He's very close to barriers. And oof.
It's slightly too late, as Oda was pushing that a little bit too hard, trying to gain. What I suspect he was doing was trying to regain time lost from where the car got squiggly a few corners before. So just overdriving the car, it's so easily done. Even if you know every capability of your car, you still have that instinct to try and make up for lost time if you feel you've lost a tenth or 100 here or there. It's so tempting to do, and with this stage being tarmac, you've got all the grip in the world, so it tempts you to even further to try and push on.
Yeah, looks like it's Mark Best up the hill as well now, and the Canadian has already hit dramas coming into the first couple of corners. at the very least, that back end of that car is not exactly 100% compliant. And that is the only Norma M2 200 FC. Mark is in the hunt for the championship this season, and it's looking a little bit cleaner, but a bit scraggly going through the hairpin, putting down the power. And already just keeping an eye on the lap times, as Herbert Pregartner has come in with a 1 minute 27.869. 21, well, Mark Best lost 6/10 in the first sector, nearly 1.5 in sector 2, and that's through the 2 dramas. And I think that is Sebastian Hornatz. This hairpin is catching everybody out. So if these prototype cars are not making it through, this is going to be interesting. A 1 minute 30.162 for Mark Best. I know that Philip Gärtner's out as well at the moment in the number 125, and Gärtner's just gone through sector 2 on a 48.5, half a second down on Pregartner, who is leading with a 1 minute 27.869. So Gärtner, I would imagine, is going to well, if he's going to jump over the hill like that and sideways whilst doing so, and nearly clobbering the barrier on the way down. And Gärtner actually goes slower, and Mark Best is just put into the, well, I can understand what he just he just said, that he just said frigging hairpin. Well, Mark, you've got another 2 runs, buddy, and you can see the amount of rubber that's already been laid down on the start line here, Chris.
Wow, yeah, that's how you write determination on the road using Pirelli, you know,
or lead right foot.
Yeah, you need a fair amount of that in HillClimb. Is the next car, and a glorious colour scheme screams its way up the hill as we switch back to Pedro Barbosa in the next Norma. And look at the size difference. Oh, as Pedro hits the wall.
Ouch.
Yeah, look, I mean, the size difference between this and the Acela, the FA30 that's come up, is immense. Well, right on cue. There is Agos Andre's Acela FA30. It looks huge. But you've got to be patient. That's the thing. And that's almost counterintuitive to hill climbing rallying, because everything is it's half a split second. It's not a tenth, it's not 100th. It's just everything is in such tiny measures. Here is Pedro Barbosa's run through that same hairpin. Now, some of the reason why we're seeing struggles with, as he's clunked into the wall and deposited a bit of his car for a souvenir for a nearby marshal. Yeah. But these cars don't want to slide. They're not built for it. I mean, it amazes me that these types of cars actually do hill climbing. They absolutely do. I've seen it happen. So, single seaters and these type of prototypes do indeed do hill climbing in real life. But they don't like to slide. They're built very much to stick to the ground. And when you've got corners as tight as that hairpin, I mean, these cars do not actually have very good turning circles, so they really struggle. These things, however, are designed to take every corner at maximum slidey ways. So these things says, corner, really fine handbrake, go, and these things will eat corners for breakfast. But you take the prototype ones, as we're just seeing Javier Rodriguez in the picture there, displaying exactly what I'm talking about perfectly well in that gorgeous BMW. But because they can slide, because they can rotate, again, that's the real key for taking sharp corners. Sounds obvious. Yes, of course you need to rotate a car to corner with it, but the prototype and single seaters, they struggle with that sort of thing, particularly at slow speeds.
Yeah, well, the thing is that whilst Agio Santo, biggest off of the night so far, and he was quickest.
Oh dear, there's Beiersdorf go for a Honda.
So both Andre and Horner have not set a first lap time, as Beiersdorf's lost it. And he's
blocked the road as well.
Yeah. And Mark Best has just said Sebastian Ronat wrecked it, and he never usually wrecks. That's the first thing. And when you're getting to this point in the championship, as one of the Escort RS2000s screeches with all 4 wheels engaged, at the moment it's Herbert Pregartner that is leading the way. I'm actually noting down the times as we go along, so at least in some respects we'll have an indication on who is actually fastest. So Pedro Barbosa 1 minute 35.323 in that one. Rona no time. Andre no time.
There's Ludovic Calvet in the pink accented Lancer Evo 9. It's a little bit narrower than the Escort, not by much, but it's a tiny bit narrower. A bit of a longer wheelbase, if I remember correctly, as well from the Escort. But dear Lord, does it take off like an absolutely scalded cat. Fantastic vehicle. I question the use of pink in the livery. That's what happens when you try and brake when you're not on the hard stuff, and trying to climb the local scenery is not the way you make it to the end. Oh dear, and that wasn't by much. If you watch, you can see the replay in the main screen that wasn't long for by much. There you go. Okay, he was half a car's width off, but he was by such a split second, and because you have to think so quickly. That's like I say, half a split second, and that run's done.
Well, the funny thing is that Calvet did more spinning than I think than Tony Hawk would be proud of, whilst doing an ollie in a 720 mid-air. But Bergstoff and Calvet on their first runs set no time. They both, well, actually, Barroso has just gone in 1 minute 39.115. Oh, and it's the Lancia. It's the Lancia.
No,
Perlich parks it in the garage. Big old massive moment for the Lancia. Well, it looks like he's managed to get it back on the track, but that thing is. Well, that's a
replay, I think. That's that we're seeing
it's
there.
It's slow-mo, right? Hits the barriers, bang, and the front bumper is gone. So's the back one. So we have 2 out of the E1 2000s. So at the moment, Alvarez has set a time 1 minute 35.444. Josué Barroso has also set a time. Jose Alvarez, currently out in the number 67, has just put in a 25.1 on the first sector. That is actually, you know what's even more impressive here, Chris? Dorf was on a flyer. He set purple in first and second sectors of the hill climb here at Trierer Bergrennen, and that massive off cost him what could have been lower than a 1 minute 35.
Still 2 more runs to go, though. As mentioned, it is 3 runs that our competitors have, as Jose Alvarez has come over the line and gets a time of 1:38.495 on the board. But the slightly slower of the Alvarez is his times. Pedro being the quicker one by 3 seconds at the moment. As we see another one of the Lancer Evo 9s, David Desprez in the TT1 car. There's a fine-looking beast. I'm not referring to my co-commentator on this occasion, although he is indeed a fine-looking beast. One of the BMWs.
You're just like Actual Vision talking about Enzo Benito from Team Redline.
I can neither confirm nor deny your allegations.
Because I saw it firsthand when he was talking about it. But it's good to see that this particular car screaming off the line. It looks like there's been quite a lot of attrition. I've counted that there are. There's 3 drivers that Pedro Alvarez, Jose Alvarez, and Josué Barroso in the E1 2000s are the only one that have set times. But Frederick Tescher now going out as well. So these lap times, you know what I'm going to do to make it easier? I'm going to screenshot. Just writing these lap times down, you and O'Leary. I don't know how you ever did it, buddy. But already, someone else is coming a cropper against one of the walls already. It's that stone wall on the left-hand side. A bit reminiscent of Goodwood that has caused a few problems there, Chris.
The King Cup the Hill. Yes, I have been to the Goodwood Festival of Speed. I didn't see anybody bed their car into it, but I've seen many a video of where that's gone wrong. As this lovely BMW. I keep thinking the sign on the bonnet is the Deutsche Post bugle type logo. I know it isn't, but that's just
it isn't. No, it isn't.
It's not it at all. But it's just it's what it's making me think of. Don't ask me why. It's
the bugle for the Deutsche Post livery is black in terms of its outline, not bright bleeding red. But Arjurio is doing a pretty good lap, pretty good first bit. But Javier Rodriguez 1 minute 34.827. And Arju's coming towards the end of the hill climb here at Trierer. Goes in 1 minute 39.108, so it's nearly 4.3 seconds off. Still got John Spider in the Mercedes 190E. Lots of sideways there from
It's David
from the now
Desprez.
third placed. That's David Desprez in the 221 Lancer Evo. 4 times have now come in. Frederick Tescher, who's currently...
Get it! Turn it!
Did he get that thing turned in? I hope he did.
It looks like he did, yeah.
Yeah, he definitely had squeaky bum time right there. John Spider now out in the Mercedes 190E Judd. And this is one of those hill climb specials, naturally aspirated, fire-breathing V8 Judd engine in the back of this car. V10, sorry, yes, thank you to our broadcast director, Mr. Peter Muncombe, who is listening to us. It is the old Formula One engines as well, with a bit more bulletproof reliability, albeit the thing is, things have to be run up to temp, but just going to keep an eye on how Spider is doing, because this could be a very impressive lap. Well, he hasn't improved. He's about a second and a half down in Sector 1, 1.7 seconds down in Sector 2, and he's about 80% through the hill climb. He's just coming over the crest. That car is bobbing and weaving left and right, and he crosses the line, goes second. 1 minute 38.902 for John Spider. Pretty good considering the kind of beast you've got to keep under control, Chris.
There it is. There it is. There's Yari Hernandez in that gorgeous classic Audi Quattro that I will wax lyrical until the cows come home, and I do not care who criticizes me for it. This thing was such an absolute monster in its day, and it's doing pretty well in its sim racing guys now, as that is third place for Hernandez, 138.875. Still, Pedro Alvarez with an absolutely ungodly time in the Escort WRC number 32 car. And nice parking there from Hernandez as he spins that one round to bring that one back home again. And there is another one of the Escorts, Flo Milo, in mainly whites, but obviously the sponsor emblazoned Escort. And there you go, kicking the tail out, getting a bit of handbrake going to get the car rotated round. That's what these things are built for. Lots of changes of direction, or lots of very fast changes of direction. Tried to get the car to slide, but it's actually very difficult to get these things to slide on tarmac. If it was on gravel, that thing, that's where these cars are in their absolute prime, on slightly slippery surfaces. As the first of the Opel Cadets are now let loose out. Again, just harking back to my younger years, the Opel Cadet GTU. It's older than we are, but even still, just look at it. It's absolutely fantastic as Polabauer takes this one for a run.
Yeah, Galpassoro, unfortunately, after Sector 1 had an incident and has parked the car in the garage, I'm afraid. So the number 130's antics in the first set of the 3 runs up the hill have Raymond Codger saying is Spiros Papadopoulos as Mark II here as well. I'm going to have a quick look. And at the moment, I would say possibly not. More than likely, but another one of the Opel Cadets makes its way off of the start line here in Trierer, and that's Mitko Christoph in the number 44. So Polabauer has gone fast in Sector 1 at 26.025 and was 65 thousandths quicker than Galpassoro before Galpassoro, unfortunately, as we like to use the terminology here, Chris, binned it good and proper, I'm afraid to say, on this very tight hill climb here. Philip Hart now out in the 145 Opel Cadets as we ride on board with Andreas Polabauer at full commitment, full speed. This is how you fling a hill climb car up a hill here in Trierer, and he goes across the line 1 minute 41.872. Great run from the 116, but Mitko Christoph has gone quicker by nearly 3/10 in Sector 1. The 44 Opel Cadet now going through the tight and twisty stuff. Love this old sort of hark to the old Opel colours, the yellow and black that they saw on a revisiting of the Opel Manta, which was unfortunately for the electric vehicle as a concept, but he's gone, well, he's still up. He's nearly a 10.5 down in Sector 2, but it's still the best part of the 10.5 up on this run. So Mitko Christoph looks very, very good to go to the top of the timesheets. Philip Rapp is not too far behind either. And
wow. As Hristov using every pixel to his available to him, and that's top of the timesheets for the group with a 41.179. There's Philip Raab in the very multicolored cadet. Yeah, I love that black and yellow, very reminiscent of its traditional colors, the bumblebee coloring almost, as Raab getting the tail to wag very, very nicely in the 145 cadet. Oh, very nice. Not the fastest way of doing it, but wow, give that man bonus for style points. That was beautiful.
Forget Tokyo Drift, it's Tier Drift here in Germany. But yeah, Philip Raab hanging the backside out like it was a good one, and decided, you know what, I'm going to have a bit of fun on the first run, and he did. Oh, he loses the back end, goes straight into the trees on the other side. Philip Raab, unfortunately, meine Güte. And I feel like this phrase should be used. Es ist richtig in die Hose gegangen. It's definitely gone down the pan very, very quickly for one Philip Raab, who was nearly 9/10 down in Sector 1. He did a 53.4 in Sector 2. He had started clawing time back, and that could have probably put him into the top 3 or 4. We've got Marcus Blasel that I think is out as well as we speak. So another one of the... There's quite a multitude.
Stylish finish. He has actually crossed the line, so will count, although he buried his car into the field. Now the VW Corrado has come out again. Fairly traditional colours. Is it Vespauer? I think it's... I'm not sure how close I am to the... Wiesbauer.
Yeah.
Not bad for an ignorant Englishment. And there you go.
You were ignorant. You just called yourself that.
Oh, I know. I'm self-deprecating on that one.
On everybody else when you get the opportunity. When you had the conversation at the 12 Hours of Matsusaka when Kieran said, "Don't you dare call me a coward." And then you went, "I wouldn't tarnish you with that brush," and we all went behind closed doors. Yes, you would.
Yes, you would. Is what I was told. Yes, by you as well, Mr. Goldschmidt.
It's your favourite car.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Montcalm. Yes, you enjoyed torturing me with this car last time around. I distinctly remember as Strasseger as bringing the very pink Civic very nearly into the wall. And yeah, I struggle with that one. I'm sorry. I mean, it's quick. It's very quick, but
yeah, I've got 2 words to say. My eyes.
Yes, moving on, as we see Oliver Toth then in the Corrado, screaming its way towards the line. Give it a wiggle, park it in the field, kill the trees while you're at it. What's the time on the board? Didn't quite see before the...
1:45.031. Strasseger is up on the first sector by 2.3 tenths, just under. Slightly slower, but by a fraction, half a tenth between the pairs. So the Civic Type R 196 looking rather rapid as things stand, and I think this is going to be a quick one from Mark Bess has come with a brilliant one. It's the Pepto-Bismol car. Well put! Brilliant. And Strasseger goes top, 1:44.862. So that Pepto-Bismol has given Jürgen Strasseger a little bit of a little bit of spring in the throttle foot. Let's.
Absolutely. He's probably I would imagine he's trying to park it to get out of the car to avoid shame. But hey ho, as we're riding on board with Rudy Ullmann, the first of the Fiat X19s to come out. Now, if you want to terrify anybody, you strap them to the front of the car and you give them this view, because it takes a lot of dedication, as we've said before. We see Frank Dupre also coming out to play in the Lancia Delta Evo 2. So we've seen one of the Delta. Oops! He's mounted the inside guard. They're not the quickest way of doing things. We've seen one of the Deltas already come a bit unstuck. But the next one now coming up the hill in the E1 2-litre class. 1:35.4 still that monster time, and again just struggling to get the car to rotate. You can see he went to do the slide but didn't have enough forward momentum to make it work, and he just bogged down and then ended up mounting the grass. So it is tricky to get these things to slide on tarmac without a lot of speed, and this is quite a technical track. It's got stretches of very, very long straights, which tends to be the end. So all the slow technical parts really need a lot of manhandling.
And especially when you've got a big, huge wing on the back of that Lancia Delta, that is going to help the rear end to adhere to the tarmac. But unfortunately, when you try and pick up the throttle, that's all flames from the back end. Must have had a bit of a double downshift problem. I'm not too sure on that one. But ended up clobbering the barriers. But nevertheless, it's still a notable effort. And now we've got one of the other Civic Type R's out at the moment, haven't we?
Yep. It is Achin, surname escapes me. Vargas, thank you. In the primarily white, almost Argentinian colouring on that car with the light blue. Keeping it nice and steady, under control. A bit of a steady run, so don't think this one's going to take Strasseger's time, but is pressing on nonetheless. We'll see what the time is when it comes over the line. It is a 45.1940. Wasn't that far off. It was only 3/10 off, in fairness, as the next Honda has come out. That is Helmut Hara. Get that one right. Let's try that one again. So 1:44.862. That's, as mentioned, Strasseger's time that Helmut is chasing after in the next Civic. As I can't quite tell who that is lining up. I think that's one of the Fiats that's just launched. No, it's one of the BMWs, Jürgen Dies, that's come away. What was Helmut Harrier's time? It is 1:48.192. So a bit of pace to find. But next car up the road.
Yes.
Oh, it's a classic. It's the
BMW 2002 Tii, a genuine production model, the 48. Making its way up the hill. This car is going to be, I think it's, he definitely got that sideways out to the right hand side, fully committed through there, hard on the brakes, locks up the right front, manages to avoid where Pedro Barbosa went straight in with the slam.
Oh, poor Hansel! Oh, the Clio. Poor Hansel's had a horrible run, upside down in every direction he shouldn't be going, and that the Clio is needing some care and attention.
Yes, it's going to need more than just a bit of sticky back plastic and some
club racing fixes are not going to work for that, I'm afraid. Hammer and a bit of metal isn't going to do it.
It's definitely not going to polish out, Grub. But it's great to see all these classics. Myself and Chris love our classic cars in here. Actual HillClimb Championship here at the Trierer Bergrennen HillClimb. It's no exception, but there have been a few notable casualties over the classes.
Somewhat, as we see Jürgen Dies completing his first run. And so 1:41.179, which was Christoph's Opel Kadett run, a stunning time in the number 44. I don't think the BMW is going to be challenging that at the moment. As you can see, the picture-in-picture, Adrian Valera in the Punto is now beginning his run. What was Jürgen's time? It was a 51.096. You have to remember how old that car is. So it's not going to quite keep up with the top end of the times. However, this little beast is... you don't often go sideways there. I mean, that car is misbehaving.
Drive vehicle.
Yes. Oh, and kisses the wall on his way over the line, but sets. What did he get on the board? I missed it. What was it?
Well, that will be an E1 2000. So that would have been, if that was Adrian Valera, that was a 1:47.989, putting the 215 into fourth position in the class. The E1 2000s. Whereas if started to in the, I think that was in the Group H special, goes P6. What's currently 7th.
What's Matteo Galent's done? Oh, he's kissed the wall, and now he's bounced off it again. I mean, if you don't like the Fiat, don't drive it. Don't try and reshape it.
Well, don't be like the Who and says that he plays a mean pinball, because that's exactly what happened right there.
Oh no, he's done. He's bettered it apparently. What's he done?
Me.
Well, that's a very unhappy car. You can tell. Oh, yep. He's determined to kill it. He's very determined to kill it.
Like you are going to die. In that kind of accent as well. So, and Victor Cabello now out in the Group H Special 131, the Fiat 131. Oh, this is the mint chocolate chip variety, isn't it?
So, well, I would say a spearmint. Oh no, that's yeah. You're a bit. You're expecting a little bit much of the brakes. He's determined to get it back on the road, though. That the Fiat's like no.
A plus for effort, and he's got it beached on the barriers. So Cabello, unfortunately, does not have any time on this one. And who have we got now?
Ruben Quillis in the next martini-flavoured Punto. That's not the same car that we've seen already destroyed itself, because we're not on the second runs yet. That's the next martini branded Fiat. The last one was a Lancia Delta. This is a Fiat Punto that is now doing the run.
So very reminiscent with the colour display. It reminds me of when Ford Focus had Carlos Sainz and Ford had Carlos Sainz and the late Colin McRae, Captain Crash. Oh! And another Punto in the barriers, and he's used it. God, who'd have thought of that one? 360 from
backwards down an escape road. No.
That has to be the best stylistic crash I've seen this season. So into the barriers, car snakes a little bit. He's going to go through into the next right-hander. Back end steps out into the barrier. Front bumper goes loose, and he goes right. I'm just
good night, Vienna.
I mean, Russ Swift. Out right. The Corrado of Ina Garcia. The Ken Block flavoured Volkswagen.
Yes, the monster livery Corrado bouncing off the walls. I saw what Ina was going for there, but unfortunately just not quite enough room to get the Corrado to behave itself. It's even got the hoonigan label on the side of it. Very much approved. The next Clio is Pedro Bello is completing his run. What does he get on the board? That is a 155.095.
Oh, hang on. I've just seen in the Group H Special. Have we got a Ferrari 355 on the grid? I think we have. Well, apparently
really?
So. Apparently so. Ana Fuentes.
Wow.
If there is a Ferrari, and that Ferrari is not going anywhere, I think.
Well, that's a tree.
That's a tree.
Oh, okay, it's letting replay. That's why we can't see. But it does say it's a Ferrari 355 GTS.
It's gone through the first sector. There it is.
There it is.
As soon as we see it coming to shot, the back end sideways like a good one.
That's
not about to hit the end of sector 2, Chris. My goodness.
Hit being the operative phrase. As we now see Ina Garcia. Again, that Corrado is just all over the place at the moment. We've seen a few scrapes and determined to do the stylistic finish. Nicely done.
Jim Carner right there and then, Corrado style.
And there it is. Now, that's not a common car in hills climbing. I mean, fair play for keeping it on the road.
Fair play for doing a Magnum PI right there. Unfortunately, the car's not in bright red and it's not a 308 GTS. Oh, it's two wheels like Knight Rider. It's Italian ski mode, and you know what's going to happen straight afterwards. It goes completely and utterly south.
Oh dear!
Goodness me.
I've seen those. I've seen a similar car in club racing form, but not in hill climbing form.
Right. Okay. So that is the end of the first round. I'm just going to run through some of the. Well, we're going to run through the top three in the respective classes. I am going to screenshot them, so at least I've got them at the minute. And I managed to get a few of them, but I didn't get all of them. However, the good thing is that we do have quite a lot of interesting action happening over the course of the next couple of runs. It's Herbert Pregartner that leads the way in the E2 3000 class with the 1 minute 30. Oh, hang on. I've just got to try and get the brightness up on the screen in front of me. 1 minute 27.869. So that's the time to beat, effectively. An E2 SH 3000s is Javier Rodriguez in the 195 BMW E30 Turbo. Hopefully I've got some more of these coming through, so I will... Yeah, so what we'll do, we're going to go to a brief commercial break here on GTR 24H. Join myself and Chris very, very shortly as we'll go through the top 3 of each respective class that I have been able to get a hold of when we get back after these short commercial messages.
The 2022 virtual Trierer Bergrennen HillClimb is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, A-Stick Sim Sport, ESTV, and MotorVision.tv.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Underway with the second runs here at the Trierer Bergrennen here in Germany. Alex Goldschmidt and Chris Buxton back with you once again. Chris, that was after the short intake of breath because it has been absolutely mental. As Herbert Pregartner lighting up. He's
lost a wheel.
Oh dear, 3 wheels on that wagon do not work in HillClimb, and Pregartner has just clobbered the barriers again. That is going to be his second run over and done with.
He's determined to finish it.
With 3 wheels on that wagon, and that back end stepping out as one of the other drivers now makes their way out onto the HillClimb itself, and they're thinking, we're going to make sure it happens. And just keep your eyes on who is out at the moment. That is Philip Gabner in the 1-2-5. And I think has just clobbered the barriers.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and the right rear has been doing this.
What's
going on?
I was going to say, there's no bonus points for 3 wheels. Why are they determined to go up missing a wheel? My word, what is madness is taking over?
It's for giggles, isn't it? Apparently, but. Sebastian Horner has just gone quickest in Sector 1. And all of them have had dramas. Every single one of these drivers have had dramas. And,
It's these prototypes again. They are struggling to get them rotated, and again that Acela is so wide. They've got so little room for manoeuvre that it's really causing a lot of issues at the moment. And I think that's part of the issue. But as the Norma, as we can see, Pedro Barbosa is much narrower, and that's still struggling. So, I mean, trying to pilot that Acela, my goodness, it's like trying to, I don't know, ride a hippo or something through a shopping mall. It's
just holding on to the horn on a rhino and just grabbing on for the ride. Ronald Best has put in the fastest second sector of anybody. The Canadians parked it as well. So at the moment, looks like run 2 for any of the E2 3000 classes are not going to make it through unless, Sebastian Hornat has actually gone purple in sectors 1 and 2 despite all that drama. And we're going to keep an eye on Horner because he's gone top. 1 minute 30.692. Not as quick as what we saw with
Barbosa! No. That was going well. Beached. No, stop. No. Is he going to do it?
Pedro.
Oh, he's only a little faith. I thought he was. That was never going to come down, but no, he did. I'll give him that. He's.
Yes. Oh. As Javier Rodriguez is, I think, about to go out at the moment. I think we've got one of the Tobias Baustoff, who is going for a really quick lap, a quick hill climb ascent, and that Lancer cornering on rails. He was very close sideways through the very fast and twisty stuff here, hard on the brakes into the hairpin. Lift up the old handbrake.
I love the fact that I'm watching Barbosa's camera. The only reason you know where he is, one, he's on fire, and two, you could just see the top of the rear wing barely poking over the hay. Absolutely, goodness me. So well done, cameraman, on that one for following this vague black shape going through the grass as Tobias Baustoff in the number 153 Lancer showing us how it's done. But this is what it was meaning. So this is the replay of Pedro Barbosa and his dramatic exit in the Norma N20 FC. Lovely spit of flame out of the exhaust, and there he went. So he clouted something and then plays a disappearing act into the grass.
He did a replay of Ludovic Calvé in the Mitsubishi Evo, but in the last run, managed to get as far as he did. But Baustoff looking pretty quick. Barbosa sets the third fastest time in E2 3000, but we keep our eyes on Baustoff, who is looking rather rapid in this car. And he crosses the line. What's the time from Baustoff?
34.784.
Oh, that's a quickie. That's a very quick time there. Purple in all 3 sectors. As we've got Rodriguez out in the in one of the
he's in the E30 Turbo over the line with the E2.
35.184.
There's the pink accented Evo. That's Calvet. That's now coming up the hill very sideways again from Ludovic Calvet. What can he do here? Keeps that one nicely out of the wall. We've already seen a car embedded there. There's probably some souvenir of bodywork still left there. Kissing the grass on the way up. Really trying to straight line that as much as you can. Get it turned in. Yeah, nicely done. Sometimes with these liveries, it's difficult to tell whether there's damage around the wheel arches or whether that's the livery. I think in these it's the livery, and I don't think the model deforms quite like that in this.
Yakko's a type of milk drink, I think, or yogurt drink over in France, like Yacht Play or something.
Okay. So it's a yogurt flavoured Lancer Evo 9 then, in which case.
Yes, it's a bit like, what is it? Isn't there a touring car Team Hard, that are backed by Yazoo, wasn't it?
I'll take your word for that.
Yeah, well, funny enough, I saw their cars at Thruxton last year.
136.684 for Calvet.
Oh, okay, puts the car P3 as we've got the launches out. That Fröhlich. Running in a 25.2 in the first sector. Car now exceeding 190 kph. Into the twisty stuff we go. Hopefully no spanking of the barriers with both front and rear end. Lancia Delta Evo 2, based on the HF Integrale. the car was actually, when it's brought to market, even over here in the United Kingdom, it was a left hooker, which by that I mean left-hand drive only. Oh, sideways as he puts down the power in that car, but still manages to keep it going.
He destroyed it in his first run, so looking for a bit of redemption this time. And you really do get an idea of how narrow this track is and how hard our drivers are attacking it. Now, bearing in mind that the Lancia Delta is tiny. It is a really, really narrow car. And then take into consideration how wide some things are that have tried to come up here and to varying levels of success. As we see Trierer come over the line to complete his run. And that is a 138.372 for the Delta Evo 2.
And yeah, we've also got one of the other cars out there, Jose Alvarez, out at the minute. Oh, that was a bit sideways for the Ford the Ford Escort right there.
137.746.
Good time there. Depré is also out at the moment in the number 221 car.
Frederick Tescher in the next Escort. Flying up the hill. It's almost Benetton colours on that car. I was just trying to think who that reminded me of.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like the old Alessandro Nannini, and it hits the barriers through Sector 2, and that dropped the car from about 150 kilometres an hour right down to 37, according to the speed indicator. Because we actually have that information on our live timing.gtr24h.org. As Depré is still out there at the moment, hasn't yet to break the time beam for Sector 2, but is now going through the left-hander. Up the hill he goes. Yeah, a second and a half down, nearly a second and a half down in Sector 2. As he's going to... Oh, that's that back end of that Evo 9 is starting to get a little bit snaky. He's making his way towards the final stretch, the home stretch, as that car goes very sideways. Tank slapper over the hill, and he gets through. Is he going to do any style points? Not on this particular occasion, but puts in a 1 minute 38.240 to go 5th in the class.
And that's why Tesser's car reminds me of the Benetton colours. It has Benetton on the back, so that would be why it reminds me of those colours. I'm not completely stupid, not just yet. I'm working on it, though. As he's coming to the end of his run, what can he do? Let us see. He can destroy the car, but he does manage to keep it on the road at least. Straight alive.
Attention, everybody, as Tesha goes 8th in that. Chris Buxton officially needs something to calm him down, i.e. a defibrillator, right? But we now go back to John Spider in the E2 SH3000s. The Mercedes 190E Judd has gone through both first and second sectors, and that car's looking a bit aggressive going over the crest and down towards the latter part. Is going to come across the line. What's the time? It's going to put it in car P2, and he goes and beaches it in the trees so we can measure. And here's my favourite car with a clean-up on aisle 3 for Chris Buxton. It's the Audi Quattro S1.
You have no evidence of your claim. Actually, yes, you do, because I've been waxing lyrical about the car all night so far. And yes, on the bonnet of it, just because Peter Moncombe is feeling cruel, so once he's tormented me with the pink car, and now he's denying me the view. Well, we got a good view of the grass as Hernandez buried the nose into the deck. Oh dear! So the Audi Quattro came to a sticky end rather rapidly there.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a nasty one, because we're actually on board on the front splitter cam. Through into the left sweeper, the car's picking up speed, and the back end just loses slightly, and it's in the trees, then buries in the ditch.
And still parked on the roadway. Still parked on the side. Apparently so, yeah. Who is next? Lomilou is next in the Wipes Monster Liveried Escort.
That's going to be the last of the E1 2000s, because I think Frank Dupier has yet to service. And that car's still in the garage, so we are getting the... So Fleur Moulot is going to be the last one in this class. We've already had the top 3 decided, with Rodriguez again topping E2 SH3000.
Oh, and a nudge into the wall head first for Fleur Moulot. Oh no, as Andreas Pollerbauer has destroyed the cadet. Oh dear.
Pollerbauer's done a Galpasoro.
Yeah, he's still lodged under the car. Oh no, there we go. He's he's deposited the front wing for a souvenir from nearby Marshall to grab. That thing does not want to turn now. That's an unhappy Opel Kadett, but still pressing on though. I'll give him that. I just saw in chat the Distilled U Gamecar said, "I want to try that Mercedes." Get in line, sir. We all want to have a go with that beautiful Judd 190.
You're going to have to be like the fishmongers at Sainsbury's. Number 35, please. You're going to have to wait your turn like everybody else.
I think you're going to have to fight Mr. Goldsmith for that one.
No. To be honest with you, I'm a bit of a fan of the old BMW 2002 Ti, so you're going to have to fight me for that one instead.
Yeah, but I don't think I'd win that fight somehow. I'll give Polibari his due, though. He is still making... Those wheels are not pointing in the right direction whatsoever, but he has managed to wrestle it home.
And he's wrestled it home to second.
Well, there's only 2 times on the board, so that's why. So I mean, it's still a valid point as...
Low does a Travis Pastrana.
141.089 for the white Escort. It's just going to park it at the front of the queue. That's not how queues work typically. There's the Bumblebee flavoured Opel Kadett.
Yep. So Christoph was quickest in the Group H special on the first run by a considerable margin, and this is looking pretty good. 25.407 in the first sector, 4.5 tenths up off of the wounded Opel Kadett GTE 116 of Andreas Bolibauer, and has gone quicker by over 5.5 tenths ahead of Galpasoro. So this is going to be another quick time from Christoph. Christoph's really hooked it up in the 44 over the crest and down towards the finish line. What's the time going to be? 1 minute 40.940. He absolutely obliterated Galpasoro's time like it was water under the bridge by 2.63 seconds.
Stunning.
Wow. Christoph is going to be one of those drivers that once he gets it pinned, you know what's coming next.
Absolutely, as we see Todor Kostadinov in the next Bumblebee flavoured Opel Kadett. Again, that just makes me think of the... I know it's reminiscent of the Opel Manta. That was a big old beast as well, the Manta.
It was.
Roared itself into life, but yeah, that must have been very unwieldy in its time. Oliver Toth as well in the Corrado is now making its way up the hill.
Oh, as is the Pepto-Bismol TCR on the Civic of Jürgen Streisiger. Sorry, I just had to say. I'm gonna.
That is his name now.
As the Pepto-Bismol Honda Civic Type R TCR car, and we'll know that behind the wheel it's always going to be Jürgen Streisiger.
Yep, you'll know that, but it's actually dark at the moment. This is just how much light is reflecting off the Pepto-Bismol Civic at the moment. So that's Kostadinov. Let's come over the line. What about Oliver Toth? What can he do?
He's got in Sector 2, Chris, 53.484. Streisiger is quicker in the first sector by just under 1.5 tenths. This is going to be a pretty good time for Oliver Toth as he comes down towards the line.
Hits the barrier on just as he comes over the line. 144.323.
Yes. Pretty good run from him.
Oh, there it is. Come on then, let's get this over and done with. Let's. Oh, Peter spared me. He queued up a replay of Oliver. Oh dear. So this is the crash moment we just saw for Oliver. As he's screamed down, he's turned in just that little bit too late and caught the wall. And avert your eyes, but at least Streisiger has finished the run at 144.973, just 6 tenths behind Oliver Toth on his run.
Yeah, thank goodness. And the good old Fiat X19s. We need a bit of more Italian coverage. And with one of the pinnacles of old man spanks it in the barriers in the 191, but manages to light up the rear tyres so the tail goes sideways on the right-hand hairpin, but the car goes sideways to the left. It's just science 101. It's physics, it's gravity, and it's also applying your throttle. But the turning in circles of these Fiat X19s, not always the greatest. However, it's Ullman again into the barriers. Oh, he's having a ball when it goes out sideways, but when it spanks the barriers, he's like, oh, I don't want this. Oh, I don't want this. And again, it's 1.9 drift. here in Trierer with Rudi. And again, it's all over the shop now. That car spanked the barriers more times than I've had hot roast dinners in the last 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's Italian flair, isn't it? There's, the Mediterranean blood flowing through that field at the moment as we now see Action Vargas in the next Civic coming up the hill. I love the line, it's not pink, it's salmon. That's a film quote from Wreck-It Ralph, I believe.
And then Raymond Codd says, yes. Salmon doesn't ease the blow game card. Laughing my backside.
Under no circumstance could that be classified as salmon either. So nice try.
Salmon is more orange than pink.
No, I suppose so.
In terms of if it's smoked salmon, it will be orange.
I just know what it tastes like on the end of the fork, so which is rather nice, I must add.
Indeed. Action Vargas coming through. No improvements on sectors 1 and 2 as the 177 Honda crosses the finish line. 1 minute 45.144, so 8/10 separating the top 3 in E1 2000 at the moment. So pretty good. I mean, we've still got the likes of Ina Garcia with the Ken Block flavoured Corrado R. The Corrado R never actually made it to production. The G60 did, however.
Fred Dupre now out in the next Lancia Delta. Oh, and he's hit the wall as well, but he at least gets over the line and turns himself into a Ferris wheel whilst doing it. What was his time? 1:47.388, I think it was. No, not quite. Don't know what time I'm looking at. Where is he?
Was it Dupierre, was it?
Dupierre, yes.
1 minute 47.388.
I was right. It was right. Adrian Varela now out with the Pinto.
Spirito di Punto.
Yes.
Jürgen Dies is also out in the 2002 Ti, about to hit the end of sector 2 right now.
Oh, hit was the right word. He's buried it in the wall. That's he's not wanting to be left out, is he? He's wanting to
cut off. Stop it. But it's great seeing, and we've also got Victor Cabello out at the minute in the Mint Choc Chip Fiat 131.
So I would say it would need to be green if it was mint.
It's depending on the shading and how your screen is looking front of it. The funny thing is that if it was gelato, it would be Mint Choc Chip.
Yeah, true enough. So both Jürgen Dies and the Punto on their last run. What has Matteo Galent's done in his Punto? I think we can guess he's buried it. Yeah, he's done quite well there, isn't he?
He's bouncing away like a good one there.
Well, there you go. There's some airborne moments. Oh, that's over the line in style again for Varela.
But still put in, that time was a genuine P5, 1 minute 47.556. It's just like everyone just throws caution to the wind and flings it through the trees, but then...
Well, they're not picking up the repair bill, are they? So
just decided I'm going to rip that bumper off like a good one and managed to make sure it damn well did happen. And Pedro Barbosa is laughing at everyone else's misfortune. Pedro, you realise you got one more run to go, mate, and we know what's going to happen if you bin it. Everyone's going to be laughing at you, mate.
Pedro Rebello now in the 180 Clio, making his merry way. Wrestle the... Oh, I think he just caught the inside line there, but not hard enough to flip the thing over. Remarkably easy to do that. Oh, it's the Ferrari now that's lining up to scream its way up the hill, get the horses galloping. But that
the Cavallino Rampantes rampantly driving their way up the hill.
As Rebello screams through the final part of his run. Should be able to keep that one under control. Bit of a break there.
I might have awakened the beast that slumbers behind Joel Barbosa. He said, hey, I'm not driving my car. You aren't yet. This is the whole point in us interacting with you people on the YouTube chat. It's look, we all have a sense of humour, and good to see. He said he's practicing, says Raymond Codd. He better be. Yes, he doesn't need to have 3 strikes and you're out kind of thing, because it hasn't hasn't gone well for Pedro as the Ferrari 355 manages to make it through so far, but someone else come a cropper in the picture in Trice.
Ruben Quillis in his Punto was parked and had someone fly past him. I didn't actually see who it was, but Juan Fuentes is doing a great job in manhandling the Ferrari up the hill to see what he can do. Whoa! Commentator curse, that's one to me.
Well, it was a blessing for us because we got to see something rather exciting there.
But it's exactly where Quillis had parked, so
true.
Maybe someone out there with an oil can or something on that particular corner.
They probably brought kit out for the oil slick as Garcia hits the barrier and goes P3 in the E1 2000 class.
Oh, yeah, that's a bounce off the wall for Fuentes. Oh, you shouldn't be pointing in that direction, sir.
Oh,
you done broke
that's
something.
The martini-flavoured Punto that ripped off the front barrier and did the almighty of reverse parks that we saw.
Yes, that was the one that refused to get off the barrier last time.
It did a Russ Swift.
Oh, the Ferrari's on its roof. And it's managed to get off its roof. That's impressive. No one out there doing the run at the moment. So that is run number 2 done.
Yeah, it's all said and done, and I have managed to get some screenshots, hopefully of everyone's singles, everyone's times. But before run number 3 here at the Trierer Bergrennen here on GTR 24H for the Virtual HillClimb Championship this particular season, the 5th and penultimate round. We'll be back right after these short messages. We'll see you very shortly.
The 2022 virtual Trierer Bergrennen HillClimb is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, A-Stick Sim Sport, ESTV, and MotorVision.tv.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Thrills and spills here at the penultimate round of this particular season, the Virtual HillClimb Championship, live on GTR 24H. Alex Goldschmidt and Chris Buxton back with you once again. And I've already seen that David Dupay has been in the YouTube chat and saying, my handbrake is ready for the last run up the hill, full slide, Evo 9 for 2-2-1. That's what we like to hear, a bit of gusto, don't we, Chris?
Absolutely, we're seeing plenty of gusto, but some people's gusto are ending up their car into the wall, as we've seen a couple of cars already hit the wall. Oh no, not another one! That's the replay. That's Calvert's amazing spin. Yeah, I have indeed. As hadn't spotted the big word in white letters saying highlights at the bottom of the screen. But yeah, that was an amazing multi-spin moment there for Calvert. That was the first disintegration of the martini-coloured cars. That was the actual Lancia that destroyed itself.
That was the Lancia Delta Integrale Evo 2 integrating itself with the local scenery, and then suddenly on a self-destruction mission. But one of the big drivers that has really been keeping us on tenterhooks, and it looks like it's going to be Herbert Pregartner, who's actually set the fastest time overall, 1:27 in the first run, lights up the rear tyres. It's 4 on the floor, as they say over in the States, as he's going to try and negotiate. Let's keep with Pregartner at the moment, into the right-hander. Now that back end, trying to snap away from the car itself, the number 21, the only Acela FA30 on the grid. The rest of them are all... There's quite a few. There are a few drivers in here in the Ocellas, in the FA80s, and Pedro Barbosa asking if I can make fun of you on commentating on a replay like it was live.
Please do.
Please do.
you won't be the only one, so don't feel left out for that one.
No, Pregartner currently out. Mark Best is about to go out, and he's just put in a 22.1 first sector. But this looks very tidy from Pregartner. Learnt his lessons from the second run, where he parked it, unfortunately, in the garage. And it's looking rather neat and tidy thus far. Mark Best is trying to make his way through to get through into Sector 2 and make sure he gets a clean run at the end of it all. It hasn't been a good one for the Canadian, but you can just see the back end of the Norma, powered by the Zytek engine in it, as Philip Gärtner will now be out on the HillClimb itself. But Pregartner, 21.0 in the first, 45.3 in the second, and it's across the line, and it's a 1:25.748.
Wow.
Brilliant run there by Herbert Pregartner at that moment. Mark Best is that Sebastian Horner? That was, and he was very, very close to that stone wall right there, but he manages to bring it back up to speed. And Mark Best now, I like the commitment from Mark Best at the moment. He's going to come across the line, 1:31.4, and that's really good. Roman God says, Pedro, don't give commentators anything to have the last laugh. We will have the last laugh. That's the guarantee. Commentator. But Sebastian Horner, looking at the times from him, 21.278 in the first sector for the number 14, who's top. And there's Pedro Barbosa, managing to make sure that he got through that particular section of the HillClimb itself nice and cleanly. But it's about how the Portuguese driver negotiates this next left-hand hairpin, nice and tight on the apex. We go back to Horner, who's coming through the final part of the HillClimb. 45.3 went quickest in the second sector. What's it going to be? He goes top. 1:25.737. 11 thousandths between him and Herbert Pregartner. Oh, that's close. That's very close indeed. But will Barbosa manage to get into the top 3? The Portuguese driver's got a chance, as we've got Agios Andre, who quite literally somersaulted the Acela F830 in the first heat, in the first runs up the hill. But we've now got one of the first of the that's Tobias Bershoff in the first of the E1 Plus 2000s, going up the hill in the Evo 9, the 1:53. But Andre is about to. Barbosa, I did say might go up into the top 3. He has done one at 29.695 with Agios Andre, the last one to go up the hill in the E2 3000 class, and now starts climbing up. It's going to be the twisty stuff. Can the 126 keep it on the tarmac? Looks to be the case. Looks to be nice and slow, well, not slow and steady, nice and steady. Sorry, my apologies there, Agios. But the car looks to be gathering speed into the twisty stuff, and this is where the aero really does help with the hill climbs. As soon as you've got a car that's completely planted, it does a bit of a Sebastian Loeb grass cutting sort of antic there, going through the last section. And now, across the line, over 140 miles an hour, goes P4. So Sebastian Horner, I will have a look through the times of these particular classes. And Pedro Barbosa has gone, yay! I did not crash. Well done.
It's
in Portugal.
a worthy thing to be thankful of. I think it's fair to say, yeah, it was a great run from Pedro. Very nicely done. As we're seeing Bergdorf complete his final run in the Lancer, 1:34.648. He gets on the board. Rodriguez in the picture-in-picture, he was getting some lovely slidey moments. They weren't all completely error-free, but they looked spectacular nonetheless. That kind of livery at distance keeps making me think of Michelin. That kind of white on the blue colour scheme.
You're just waiting for the Bibendium to appear now, aren't you?
There's Javier Rodriguez completes the run in the E30. And what does he get on the board? That is a 1:34.607 for the number 195. Pedro Alvarez now on the run-up in the white Escort, getting very, very close to the hay and still pressing on. What can he do? End of the run, and that is, when the time comes up, a 34.729.
Yeah, puts him
81 thousandths behind Bergdorf.
Bergdorf probably might have thought, this is squeaky bum time right about now. But Calvé does not want to do the Tony Hawk spinning into oblivion like we saw in the first run earlier on this evening. Was done on 24.8 in the first sector, 49.6 or 49.7. Calvé now pushing over 225 kilometres an hour and climbing a little bit through onto the brakes, going into this next section, using a bit of trail braking over the crest of the hill. The back end steps out to the right. Down the hill goes Calvé, and it is 1:36.852, making it a Lancer Evo 9 1-3, as Fröhlich needs to keep this Lancia on terra firma, and that basically means the tarmac underneath all four wheels.
Ideally, rather than the roof or various scattered parts being on terra firma. Let's see what that lovely martini-flavoured Lancia is capable of, coming up through the middle part of the run now as Barroso completes his run and slots into fourth position in his number 122 Escort. What can Fröhlich do as we're still working our way up towards the final section? There's one more hard right-hander to go through, this sort of double apex almost right-hander. Now heading towards the faster part. A few cars have come across, but there, nearly runs into the wall, but keeps it going very nicely. Jose Alvarez in the picture-in-picture, and his Escort is now making his way up the hill. And Alvarez has had it. He's gripped too quickly, and he's going to catch that bit of grass there. A few cars have done that. And that's actually pitched in really heavily into the tyres. Tried to drive through them. No, you can't change tyres like that. As the Lancia very nearly goes off into the trees, but manages to stay on the terra firma. That is fifth with a 1:37.99 for Fröhlich.
Nicely done, Patrick Fröhlich, in the 129 Lancia Delta Evo 2, finally keeping it pinned on the track rather than having to smack the barriers with reckless abandon. That's unfortunately what can sometimes happen here. Jose Alvarez is coming through in towards the final quarter or so of the hill climb here at the Trierer Bergrennen, as we actually ride on board with Alvarez over the crest of the hill. Car gets a little bit snaky across the line. What's it going to be? P6, 1:43.472. And David Depré is currently up the hill. There's only two running in the E2 SH3000. Javier Rodriguez has set a time for John Spider in the Mercedes 190E Judd V10 85 car. All kinds of little bit of sideways there for the V10 powered Mercedes. And it's 1:34.607 for Javier Rodriguez. Raymond Codd says, does this race format issue cutting penalties? Well, considering if you muck up here at Trierer, you are going to end up either in the barriers, either into the trees, or you're going to end up with three wheels on this wagon. But Joao Barbosa says, yep, you do. Joao It can depend on the corner, but obviously with hill climb, you can actually take a few more mitigating risks. As
what a finish for Desprez!
That Desprez just flings on the old handbrake, and it still puts him P5 on a P7 on a 1 minute 45.437. Manages to quite literally separate he's dropped to 8th because Frederick Tescher in the Ford Escort WRC 158 has gone P6 with a 1 minute 41.147. And yeah, that was the big one for for Desprez there. Well committed to the old Ken block. Jim Carner flinged it, hoped, and it did not grip. It just went skywards as John Spider ends up 2nd in E2 SH3000. That's 1 minute 39.708. But Javier Rodriguez takes the top time in that class in the final run of the evening for that particular class there. So Raymond Codd said, "Oh boy, that crash took cake for the day." Really? I think we saw quite a few other pearlers out there as well, especially with the Ferrari going on its roof.
Flo Milo got a lovely handbrake turn going on there. Tried to get another one, but not enough momentum, too much grip to get that one done. But fair play for giving it a go anyway. Who else is out there? Gal Paroso in the orange Opel Kadett is on track, and the yellow and black Kadett is ready to take to the field. And let's see what they're able to do. There's Julien Gal Paroso. Try again, Chris Galpasoro. That's about to get over the line. What can he get on the board in the almost Jägermeister flavoured Kadett? It's the top, of course, because it's the first one out there. Setting the benchmark for the Kadetts. Flo Milo in the Escort. 1:34.648 by Bergrennen, still the top of the E1 2-litre class. Bits quickly over the crest, over the line, and where does that put Flo Milo? That is into the field, and 5th place with a 39.590.
Yeah, so that looks to be that all the cars for E1 plus 2000 are out, but we've got the Group H specials out there, Chris, and Polibauer, let's make sure that the front end does stay. He definitely did the squeaky, I'm going to hit the brakes as hard as I possibly can and see how far the front pitches forward. But yeah, Mulot will definitely get style points for what just happened there, clattering into some of the scenery I saw as well.
Philip Raab has left with his Opel Kadett, along with Nico Histroff, who's been one of the quickest cadets out there tonight. So we'll see if he's able to reclaim the top spot. That's quite a time to chase there. 1:42.91, still by Galsborough. So we'll see what he's able to do. As Raab tries to chuck that one in, but catches that apex a little bit too hard. It unsettled the car. We've seen a few people already come across there, as Marcus Blasel is also out there with his Kadett. We'll see what he is able to do as well. 3 of the Group H specials currently doing battle up the hill. Christoph is just coming out of the slower section now, so he'll be the first one over the line to complete his run.
Yeah, so we are coming towards the end of this round here. We've still got the E1 2000s, but the Group H specials, it's Julien Galpasoro leading the way by 0.229. Christoph quickest into the first and second sectors. It could be a clean sweep for the Hungarian as he will cross the line eminently. What's the time going to be? It is a 1 minute 40.433. Galpasoro has just been served royal.
That is inhumanely quick from Nico Christoph. What does Philip Raab get on the board? It is a 1:43.611. Puts him behind Polibauer at the moment. And here comes Blaser. What does he secure as well? It's a trip into the field to admire the scenery. Well, he's going to drive his way back down the hill. And 1:43, no, that's Philip Raab. No, 144, 121.
And at the moment, it is an all Opel Cadet top 5 clean sweep. As now we have the first of our Corrado R's. It's Oliver Toth and, oh dear, Pepto-Bismol. Watch, the radar for Pepto-Bismol is out and well and truly, because Starseger will be next up the hill. It's a 26.893 for Oliver Toth in the Corrado R. I do remember back in the day that when the Corrado was released, it had the G60.
Oops.
Oh!
Slight bit of...
Ach, meine Güte. That was definitely squeaky bum time right there, because he completely missed the exit, and I have to avert my eyes right now from Pepto-Bismol. Hello, Jürgen Starseger, the Austrian. Both these drivers from Austria, both from the same, but it was just like looking back at Oliver Toth, just completely making a hash of it. And Starseger has gone 0.463 faster in Sector 1. Sector 2 is about to come through to right now, but Oliver Toth about to cross the line in the Corrado R, 210, and clashes into the barriers and spins it out before hitting return to the paddock. 1 minute 46.344. Starseger locks up the brakes a little bit there on the right-hand side, makes it nice and tidy through the apex of that hairpin, where Oliver Toth got it all beat on, so to speak, wrong. But Starseger looking a bit more planted, and we are waiting for more. I've just seen one of the X19s about to go out. That is probably going to be more than likely Rudi Ullmann, who's given us the sideways display, followed by Achin Vargas in the 177 Honda Civic. So we'll have Group H followed by 2000. But this looks quick again. Yes, Starseger was mighty, nearly 2 seconds up in Sector 2 alone, and comes across the line. The 196 goes top the timesheet, absolutely obliterating Oliver Toth's time with a 1 minute 43.814.
Stunning effort from Starseger. Although I will say one thing to the Austrian driver: Water, warum? Warum? Why was what I just asked. Just why pink was what I was trying to say. But yeah, what an incredible time. The car may not be to my liking, but dear Lord, you can't deny it's quick.
It's like a tramp on chips.
No.
Sorry, I had to throw that in. Thanks to my good friend Mr. Henry Baudet. Yes, he taught me that one many a moon ago. But Achin Vargas now up the hill at the moment, as we are waiting for another one of that's Kostadinov in the 136 waiting to be released, and then that looks to be another one of the Mantas. I think not too. Well, it could be another one of the E1 2000s. That could be Helmut Hara, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Well, I saw something with a big wing on the back of it.
That doesn't narrow it down, do it?
No, it doesn't narrow it down all that well. However, this is why you've got two blokes sometimes talking completely randomly about particular cars. But yeah, Achin Vargas, I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on going up the hill. That might be the BMW, possibly the 2002 TII. That is one of my favourite cars on this grid. As all that was
Oliver Toth's dramatic exit.
Oh yeah, from earlier. Don't scare me, Moncombe, damn you. But Achin Vargas 26.8 through the first sector, slightly quicker than Oliver Toth. So. And Vargas has just gone quickest. Oh, he's gone quickest by nearly half a second in Sector 2. Helmut Harris has put in a 27.2 in the first sector. So keep your eyes on Achin Vargas. Vargas could pip Starseger for the top of the timesheets as he comes across the crest. Absolutely harrying. Over the line is the car going to go. And it goes P1. 1 minute 43.607. Blitzes Starseger's time out of the water cleanly by 0.207 seconds.
Nein, I'm not saying that quite right. I'm probably making Peter Malcolm cringe. My attempt of saying that, I was trying to, again, say...
All I need to do is plead the fifth, because Frank Dupier actually is in the... I think what is going to be the last of the E1... Yes, it's the last one out of 8 cars for the the E1 2000s. That was the car that I got confused with. That was the one in the background. And Dupierre up over the hill, across towards the line. The car's now hitting over 220 kilometres an hour and it spanks it into the barriers. Quicker than Jason Plato and Matt Neal having an altercation at Donington, at Rockingham in 2011. I thank you.
Mikael Paul Hansel now in one of the few Clios that are surviving in the E1 2-litre class. Yes, making his way up. Oh, there it is. There's Jürgen Dies in the 2002 TII. Away he goes in that gorgeous-looking monster. Looking forward to seeing that scream its way up the field as Hansel's wrestling the little Clio, which sounds like an odd sentence, but again, much the same way that all of these cars have struggled to just get the slide you need to get rally cars to behave themselves. It's just too much grip, which doesn't normally sound like a bad thing, but in these cars it can be a bit of an issue. But Paul Hansel screaming his way up towards the fastest section over the crest. What is he going to do to get? It's a 1:43.607 is the Civic top time of Vargas, and that's a 47.736 for Paul Hansel.
Jürgen Dies going up the hill as we speak, and the 2002 TII has made it through Sector 1 already nice and safely. We look to have that's Estate Tour, who's just being released from the start line in the 77 Opel Cadets, and at the moment, well, it is a top 5 Opel Cadet lockout in the Group H Specials, but it's Rudi Ullmann in the Fiat X19, the only X19 that we've seen here. We've seen a plethora of them in previous races in the Virtual HillClimb Championship, but Jürgen Dies about to cross the timing beam for sector number 2. Top speed on that car, about 20 kilometres an hour down on the rest of the opposition, 57.4.
Oh, this Esfitatu is in the ball.
Oh, he's done a Barbosa. Hey, I said it.
That wasn't me. That was nothing to do with me. I claim no responsibility to that.
So we have the last laugh. But Jürgen Dies about to come across the line, and it's going to pick up some well-needed speed. And Jürgen Dies goes P7 in the Group H Specials, 1 minute 51.684. Good commitment, despite it not being on the parity on power with the rest of the Group H Specials. But Estate still climbing up the hill and has lost a bit of time, 27.727. The slowest of the Opel Cadets in the first sector was actually Philip Hub. No, it wasn't.
Oh, and again, sorry to cut you off there, Alex. The Cadet
that's fine. Estate was having a moment, and I don't think that car was actually tracking true, which is a bit of a shame, but nevertheless, Estate made a rod for his own back, going through and smacking the stone wall on the place.
Oh, and there goes Galentz doing the same thing.
Galentz is not having a great time in the Punto. The Spirito de Punto has definitely vacated.
He found the one set of tyres nailed to that side of the track. So, he's
ripped off the bump
depositing
on the car.
He's depositing his car everywhere. So there goes Esfitatu again. Where are you going? The line's over here, sir. He's probably trying to slow down. The only one trying to brake on dirt is dirt and grass will know, but you aren't going to do that in a hurry. That's what's left of Matteo Galentz's car.
Because literally when the rear bumper got ripped off, the front one got ripped off rather suddenly as well, and Galentz is in.
He's had enough of that. He's in sight of the line, and he's recovered that straight home. Victor Cabello in the field, 131. As he's plowed off the walls.
Minty Chip has been more than just stirred. It's been shaken quite vigorously against the barrier.
Yes, that's been very much munched. But finishing the run nonetheless, that's what it looks like on board. That's the crest, and then we'll come over the line. He's probably going to clout the wall. No, he avoids the wall this time, but that is likely to be towards the tail end. Yep, that is the 8th time on the board for the Group H Specials. Next E1 2-litre class is the Clio of Pedro Ribello. What is he going to be able to do in this one? He actually got that one kind of slowed down a little bit too quickly there to get slightly back up to speed. There's the best slimming world representatives in the crowd there.
How many pounds have you lost today? We still got Ferrari still to go anyway.
Yes.
Because that's on that is making its way. So there's going to be a couple of cars to go. The Fiat Punto of Adrian Varela that had moments a few times ago, and Juanma Fuentes and the Ferrari 355 GTS.
Oh no, not again! Quillis has buried it again.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
That is in the garage. Thank you very much, and good night.
Here comes
Rebello goes, P5, 1 minute 48.039.
Garcia.
Garcia in the Ken Block flavoured Corrado.
That looked like he didn't want to slow down. There was a lot of locking up, probably some clenching and some harsh words going on in that cockpit.
And plenty of understeer as well, I might add. So, that's going to be...
There's the Ferrari. Oh, Fuentes. Fuentes is now out.
Moment.
I don't think so. No, that's the Ferrari is still galloping quite nicely. It's still in its original shape.
The Cavallino is still rampante, so
it does seem a bit of a pig to slow down, but it certainly gets galloping quite nicely. And there's a fair amount of tail sliding going on. That's all rear wheel drive. So plenty of slidey ways going on.
Madonna. Still, it's about to make it through the sector. Ina Garcia is about to come across the line as well in the Corrado, the Hoonigan flavoured tribute act, and goes a bit gymkhana whilst going P3 across the line, 1 minute 44.186. We've just got the Ferrari Fuentes and Varela in the Punto 215 in the E1 2000 classes, but Fuentes is about to go towards the crest of the hill. Don't spank it into the barriers. Don't it's like that, please. Oh no! Please tell me it's going to be a 360 with a save. Yes, it is. This is the barriers. Brilliantly done.
Oh, me a little face.
And you know what? Even with that moment, Fuentes still went P7. Varela is the last one out on the hill climb and is going to cross the line now at over 200 kilometers an hour. Goes P4 in the E1 2000 class. And luckily enough, I have managed to screenshot quite a lot of the results as they have come in. So very, very soon we'll be right back after these short commercial messages on GTR 24H, as myself and Chris Buxton will be talking through the thrills and spills of this particular round of the Virtual Hill Climb Championship. We'll be back in just a couple of moments' time.
The 2022 Virtual Trierer Bergrennen Hill Climb is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, A-Stick Sim Sport, ESTV, and Motorvision.tv.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Well, it's time to sort of really... apart from the fact I've tried to capture as many of the runs as possible in terms of the times, Chris Buxton, we have to sort of look at respective runs that were done. So firstly, I'm going to go to the E2 3000s, first of all. And one of them, Sebastian Hornau was quickest out there, 1 minute 25.737. And Hornau was quicker again when 3 of the field decided, I'm going to... Well, they did not have the intention of saying, I'm going to spank it into the barriers, to put it bluntly. But it was... I'm just having a look at the times. It was actually Sebastian Hornau that was quickest of anybody, 1 minute 25.737. It was the final run that saw a lot of great times. Hornau was quicker by, I think this is probably the closest winning margin on a heat run. 11 thousandths of her, about ahead of Herbert Pregartner. Good to see that Pedro Barbosa, and they're already saying, see you guys in 2 weeks. So, okay, thanks for leaving us and throwing us under the proverbial double-decker bus. But it looks like Sebastian Hornau was quickest overall in the E2 SH, the E2 3000 class. And then looking at the SH 3000, looks like Javier Rodriguez took a clean sweep in all three runs, so good from him. But the calamity that I'd like to go through the rest of the results, but unfortunately I was not able to capture as many as I'd liked. But I know that Tobias Bergdorf was quickest in the E1 Plus 2000s. We saw some great running from a lot of the cars out there, and we did have quite a few off-piste moments, didn't we?
One or two. I mean, that's one of my favourite ones with Pedro Barbosa with a flaming car coming over the line, and that was after he buried himself in the cornfield. Yes, there were quite a lot of highlight moments, not least of which me commentating, not realising it was a highlight moment and thinking someone had done the same mistake twice. That was Calver in his amazing multi-spin. Oh, there we go. That was Barbosa's disappearing act into the cornfield.
Not as good as the Tony Hawk effort from Ludovic Calvet. Tesha also in the Alessandro Nannini Benetton flavoured tribute band gave us something to talk about. Because at one point the car decided, I'm going to go straight into the barriers, and then zoinks, as Shaggy would say with Scooby-Doo. But, we had a lot of stylish moments when the drivers were coming through to the final, the crest of the hill climb here at the Trierer Bergrennen. And this is when Tesha got it all kinds of wrong, and then smoke started billowing from the right rear. Spider in the Mercedes 190 Judd V10 also having a few moments of his own, but keeping it completely planted in one of the SH 3000s, and also clobbered the barrier before stylishly going off into the trees. There were quite, and then of course we had the Fernandez in your lovely car, your favourite car of choice in this championship, the Audi Quattro S1. But also, there was a bit of action for that car as well. It got stuck in the trees, buried into the ditch. Molyneux also decided to channel the inner Ken Block, because Ken Block himself actually does own one of these cars in real life, the WRC Escort S2000. And to beach it into the tyre barriers first, avoided the stone wall, but then did I think it was a 1080 or something like that. Then we had Rudi Ullmann giving it all the berries in the X19 and having a moment of his own with the barriers, which then meant that the car decided to become incredibly tail happy. And then Fuentes in the the F3, the Ferrari 355, which we did see in one of the runs. I think it was run 2, as it decided to park itself like it was on the M25.
Well, at least it parked it near the emergency services, so it was considerate in that respect.
It did, but I think I have to say, moment of the night has to be the martini-flavoured Punto that ripped off its front bumper and then promptly decided to do a Russ Swift and reverse park down the exit road, which just goes to show how interesting it's been. But and yeah, I mean, it's been a real good night tonight, isn't it? Of hill climb action, moments of grandeur, moments of oh my god, and Chris Buxton needing a defibrillator from time to time when his octaves have currently risen beyond the depths of the grave. But it's been a really good evening tonight, hasn't it, Chris?
Yes, certainly has. I alerted every dog in the nearby area when I did that, more than likely. But yeah,
including
absolutely.
your 2 own at your house,
including my 2 that probably barked at the door. But yeah, it's been a wonderful night. Like I've said numerous times, I'm a sucker for these, particularly the classic cars that we've seen, but they all look absolutely fantastic. In fairness, all the drivers, top to bottom, have done an absolutely spectacular job in their runs, providing us a lot of entertainment, and we look forward to doing it all over again in 2 weeks' time.
Yes, indeed, and that'll be on the week of the second round of the Endurance Racing World Championship, the 12 hours of Autodromo Nazionale du Monza. Don't forget to follow us on all relevant social medias here on GTR24H. And before we forget, you can also go to gtr24h.org to find out more about the respective championships that we cover, along with up-to-date content. Thanks for watching here on the Virtual Hill Climb Championship. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time on the next live broadcast. Thank you and good night.
The 2022 virtual Trierer Bergrennen HillClimb is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, A-Stick Sim Sport, ESTV, and MotorVision.tv.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.